But yeah, I think that this must be the mold that I have the most of, and I will buy it again if they do this guy in this color. I would do that if they combine these figures together. I'm so desperate for it. Finally. I'm so happy that this figure exists. For today's video, we are going to be taking a look at Transformers Walmart exclusive Retro G1 Autobot Bumblebee. And yeah, finally we have gotten a version of this mold, of the Netflix mold, that is the correct color and turns into the correct car. Was that so hard to do? I've been waiting for this figure for so long. I was gonna say, like, at least since the Netflix figure came out, but really, honestly, since the Earthrise Cliffjumper mold came out, and that was years and years ago. So, yeah, we finally got the figure I actually wanted, and he's not perfect, but we can get him there, or at least a little bit closer with a few edits. But yeah, so what this figure is supposed to be is there's a Walmart exclusive, like I guess you could call it a subline. They've only done two figures so far, him and Gears, where they've released the Generations mold for these figures again, but made them a little bit closer to their G1 counterparts. So like Gears has the toy accurate head. Bumblebee, however, does not have the toy accurate head, which was actually something that people were kind of complaining about. Honestly, it would have been fine either way for me because I still do have that extra head for him from the Worlds Collide Bumblebee, which is probably the one I'm going to end up using on this figure anyway. So I can appreciate the complaint that like it's being marketed as like a toy accurate Bumblebee and it doesn't have a toy accurate Bumblebee head, which we really haven't gotten on any of these figures. But that's not the reason I got this guy, so I do not care at all. But it's worth talking about. But yeah, no, fantastic little figure here. Finally, we're getting this mold in an actually like bright yellow. And yeah, I mean, we've looked at this mold a number of times. This is literally my 8th version of this mold, which makes it by far the figure that I have the most of. But yeah, great little VW Beetle mode here. He rolls perfectly fine. They have decided to give him painted opaque windows rather than any like clear plastic inserts like they did with previous versions of this figure. Honestly, it bothers me less than I thought it would. I get why they did it because that's definitely way more accurate to G1 Bumblebee, but I kind of would have preferred the like the clear blue like they did before. And there's a couple paint apps that were on the Netflix figure that are like kind of missing on this guy. Like he doesn't have his little VW logo picked out in silver. He doesn't have the windshield wipers picked out in silver or the door handle. He does have a little tampo there for his license plate, which actually makes it look like the back of the original G1 Bumblebee toy, which is kind of neat. But it's a little weird with it still being yellow, but that's easy to cover up with a sticker if you didn't like it. But yeah, no, otherwise a very nice looking figure here, and I'm really appreciative that this thing finally exists. Of course, like every other version of this mold, he comes with the same big bazooka weapon, which was from one episode in the cartoon that Cliffjumper used it, so it makes just as little sense with this Bumblebee as it did with the last several. But it can connect to its disconnect to its various components. You can put the little skis in the front here, referencing that one thing Cliffjumper did one time in the cartoon. And you can like undo the back to like have the gun stick out the back. Honestly, I'm not going to bother showing it, but you can do the same thing that you've done with every other version of this mold. You can still do this stuff. I don't care. It's going on a weapons rack. This has never been Bumblebee's weapon. It's never really mattered to me. I've got a bunch of these that just sit off to the side, but whatever. If that's what they need to include with the figure to give us this mold in this color, that I'll take it. The other thing that I will mention is that the headlights, I feel like the silver is a little bit thin, like it still has a bit of a yellowy tint to it, and that's not helped by the fact that they didn't paint the sides of the headlights there, which definitely I feel like makes it look like a little bit of a step down from the Netflix one that had those fully painted. That's an easy enough paint app for me to do, so I'm not too bothered by it. But just as is, I don't think that the headlights look quite as good as they could. But that's a nitpick, all things considered. In terms of comparisons in this mode, just for the standard one, here he is with Kingdom Sideswipe, so you can see what the two of them look like together. I think he's a little bit small to scale with this car, but, I have talked about that before with other versions of this mold and other versions of this mold, but, that's what the two of them look like together. Here he is with Netflix Bumblebee, so you can see the differences there. Again, just much more the color that I'd like it to be, but you can see some of the missing paint apps there, like the headlights not being completely covered, the little VW logo. I do still really like the kind of like metallic-ish sheen that they put on this figure. I do think that this one still does overall have a nicer looking car mode, but this one actually being yellow and not like an orangey yellow makes a huge difference. But so I still like both of them, but this is going to be my definitive Bumblebee from here on out with a few changes. But yeah, that's what the two of them look like together. Here he is with the Worlds Collide Bumblebee from that Buzzworthy Bumblebee 4-pack. Just to confirm here, yes, they are fairly close to being the same color. There's probably like slight hue differences, but honestly, at least to my eye, I can hardly tell. And there's literally more of a difference between the two of them than there is between like his plastic and his painted piece here. So yeah, I think if you want to use bits from him to kind of make him better, it works totally well. But that's what the two of them look like together. And then last but not least, here he is with Studio Series 86 Bumblebee. So you can see what the two of them look like together. Obviously, this one is being much more cartoon accurate in terms of like the actual Penny Racer style look of the car. And, it's kind of funny that they didn't use this figure for this because, like, this one would have a more G1 accurate, like G1 toy accurate car mode as well, just because of the shape of it. And again, I really think that this line was just an excuse to release this guy in the like lighter yellow color. And he's not like super hard into the like G1 toy look. When this guy originally came out, I was just so worried that they just abandoned this mold and they were never going to do this, but I'm so thankful that they finally did. Like I said, I've got so many of this guy and like 5 of them are all Bumblebees. Yeah, whatever, they got me a little bit there, but either way, that's what the two of them look like together. Now, in terms of transformation, there are no surprises here. Of course, he transforms exactly the same as every other version of this mold. You can just take the back section here and kind of bring that down and you have to kind of wiggle it out of the hands a little bit. Yes, he does the parts forming. No, I don't care. And unfortunately, his peg in here is a little bit tight as well, so it's a little bit more of a pain to get out than some of them, but it's not too bad. But you can see here too, like it's not just that these are painted clear plastic, like the actual insert itself, unlike the other versions of this mold, is just yellow plastic painted black, which I think is totally fine because it also means that the sections here, like, this little section right here, are not actually painted and thus don't have the problem of having to not match the rest of the plastic. It's the black that's painted. So it's a little bit more cohesive all around. So yeah, you take that part off and then you want to just take the front section here, split it down the middle. Sometimes a little bit helpful to kind of get it started on the side here as well. Just like that. And then you want to fold in the front wheel here, rotate this bit down, and then rotate this in so this little tab goes into one of the holes in the wheel there. So you just have to rotate that till that fits. Again, I'm going to go kind of quick through this because this is literally, I think it's the 8th version of this mold. I think I might actually have all of them. I'm not totally sure, but yeah, you flip that up like that. You can open up this section here, take this bit and put it inside and then fold it. Well, just before you fold that up, you want to fold these up because these notionally get clipped into place there. And it does hold a little bit better than on some other versions. Then rotate him around the waist, bring his arms down. And then you can take this section and either have him hold it as a incredibly stupid looking shield or just attach it to his back and call it a day, which is what I definitely prefer to do. And there we have the Retro G1 Bumblebee in his robot mode. And yeah, he looks great. On his own, he does steer into a couple toy aesthetics that I think kind of keep this from being just on his own the perfect sort of definitive Bumblebee for me. Like, he doesn't have painted eyes. They're just, well, I mean, I guess they are painted, but they're just painted silver like the rest of the face because, even the versions of the G1 Bumblebee that used like the sort of G1 looking head, like G1 cartoon looking head, didn't have painted blue eyes or anything. They were just painted silver. And then he also does have, weirdly, they are painted actually, painted black forearms here to, again, match the G1 toy, which just had fully black arms. So again, on his own, he looks a little bit dead. But if you take things like the head from the from this pack here, which is the same sculpt as all the other heads, it does fit the yellow plastic well enough. I'll show that off later, but just for now, I'll kind of just show him off as is. But yeah, obviously we can take his weapons here and do all the same things that you could before. You can give him these as like two separate guns here, or combine them together, or add this bit off to the back, even though it, kind of keeps him from bending his arm, and then add the little skis in here as like the like a gun stand or a stock or something. You can do that. There's still nowhere to store it. I don't care. It's this gun is never meant for Bumblebee in my opinion, so I usually just put it off to the side and call it a day. But that's again all the functionality with that weapon there. In terms of articulation, he's the same as every other version of this mold. Unsurprisingly, the head is on a ball joint, which mostly just gets like a swivels range and can wiggle back and forth a little bit. Shoulders are on swivels here. You can hinge out to the side about that far. Bicep swivel, 90 degrees of bend at the elbow. Wrist joint, waist joint. He's got that transformation joint, which you can sort of use as like a backwards ab crunch. Hips are on universal joints, which can go forward and back and out to the side. He's got a thigh swivel, 90 degrees of bend at the knee, and then pretty good ankle tilt. Again, I still do wish that he had some sort of forward and backward tilt since his feet are so big, but that's a conversation that we've had many times before. So yeah, works pretty well. But yeah, to get on into comparisons in this mode, here he is again with Kingdom's Sideswipe. So you can see obviously a very small deluxe there, as he should be, and as every other version of this mold has been. Here he is with Earthrise Optimus Prime, so you can see what the two of them look like together. Again, that works pretty well, in my opinion. Here he is with Missing Link Bumblebee here, who again, I didn't really feel like transforming him, but I'm showing him off with him because I forgot to bring my G1 Bumblebee up from upstairs, so he's close enough. But yeah, you can see like the aesthetics there with like the fully black arms, and the yellow definitely does match a little bit more, and the nice silvery Autobot logo on the chest there. It is a little bit strange that they didn't give him the like the G1 accurate head. Like it seems like something that they should have at least included, even if they also wanted to include the G1 head, which would have made sense honestly, since like there were versions of G1 Bumblebee that had this style head as well. But, so I get the complaint. It doesn't really matter for my, personal needs, because that's not why I bought this figure, is to, I didn't really want him to be a G1 toy style Bumblebee. I've got plenty of those already. But either way, I do get the complaint. But either way, that's what the two of them look like together. Here he is with Studio Series 86 Bumblebee. And again, I just much prefer, this look for him generally, but, to each their own. That's what they look like together. And then last but not least, here he is with Netflix Bumblebee and Earthrise Cliffjumper and Goldbug and Shattered Glass Goldbug and Bug Bite and Hubcap. And well, Bumper, who is my Worlds Collide Bumblebee, just with a custom 3D printed head there. And yeah, hopefully this is the last time I'll be buying this mold, because this is well more than enough for me, because this is the one that I actually wanted. And yeah, I think they all look good together generally. And these two here, the Worlds Collide Bumblebee and the retro G1 Bumblebee, are the two that I actually want to kind of combine together, because basically I think that the best look for this guy is taking the head that was included with this guy and the arms that were included with this guy and putting them on him. So real quick, I'm just gonna do that and show that off. And there we go. There is our much closer to perfect Generations Bumblebee. I think he looks great with this head sculpt here. I think that, this one from the Worlds Collide pack was the one where the eyes like really popped the most too. And yeah, the yellows match pretty well. Obviously, this also means that now Bumper's got black arms, which I don't mind at all. I feel like that's fine for Bumper. It helps differentiate them just that little bit more. But yeah, I am so pleased with this figure. It was kind of surprisingly difficult to get this head off the ball joint there, which I figured it might be. which is why I waited to do this until the to the review. But yeah, you know, I just think it works quite a bit better having the painted blue eyes there. If that didn't work, I would have just gone in and painted those eyes myself. But yeah, no, a fantastic little figure, as every other version of this mold has been. I might still go do a couple more touch-ups in vehicle mode with like some silver paint and stuff like that. But otherwise, I am finally pretty happy and having this as my, you know, my definitive Bumblebee in my collection. This is pretty much exactly the figure that I wanted after these little changes, and I could not be happier. But yeah, that is pretty much all there is to them. If you enjoy my videos, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel. I do reviews every Tuesday, Thursday, and oh nope, not Sunday anymore. Every Tuesday and Thursday. And without further ado, here we have Transformers Retro G1 Autobot Bumblebee.